Hello, and welcome to another episode of Financial Aid Fridays. Thanks so much for joining us on a rainy evening, Friday evening in Orono, Maine. We hope everyone had a fantastic week. My name is Jessica Hickernell.
And my name is Simon Furland. Now, before we jump into things, Jess and I would like to take a moment to tell you a little about what to expect with this series.
Absolutely. So, Financial Aid Fridays is a series of webinars that our office, the Office of Student Financial Aid, have been hosting throughout June, and we will be hosting throughout the end of July, covering all manner of topics related to financial aid. So, information from how to read your financial aid award, all the way up to additional financing options. And we've been, again, these are hosted every Friday, and we've been recording every episode as well. So if you haven't been able to join us for our previous episodes, those are available for viewing on our website at umaine.edu/stuaid.
That's right. There's a lot of really useful information in those episodes, so go take a look. And do keep in mind, we want this experience to be an interactive one. We want to hear from you. So if you have a question or a comment, please feel free to post them right directly in the Facebook live stream if you're watching from there, or in the comments section on YouTube if you're watching from there. Or if you're unable to do either one of those, if you need a YouTube account for that one or something like that, you can also email them directly to us at the email address listed at the bottom of your screen right now. We have staff standing by monitoring these locations for your questions, and we have some time allotted towards the end of the episode to try and answer some of those questions live on the air. We had quite a few last week, Jess, so I'm really hopeful.
We did.
I
Our
think
comment section
today.
was off the hook, if you could say.
That it was.
For for those of you who joined us in June, thank you. Welcome back. I'm going to say my usual tagline: buckle up. Simon, I'm gonna give folks a little taste of what we're in store for today. So
all right, let's hear it.
We have the second part of our student bill conversation that we're having. So Simon, if you remember last week, we touched on the first part of the student bill. We talked a lot about some different how-tos and important tasks that students and families are really going to want to start looking at and completing before they get here in the fall. So today we're gonna take that deep dive right into how to read the student bill, and down to that nitty gritty, how to make payments, setting up payment plans, and other important items like that.
That's right. Stay tuned. And Jess, guess what?
What?
We have a special guest here with us tonight. That's right. We have someone joining from the Bursar's office to help discuss some of this information. So with that said, welcome, Bill. Thank you so much for joining us. And Bill, if you want to take a moment, tell the folks a little bit about yourself, how long you've been here at UMaine, and maybe some of the information that folks would interact with your office.
Sure. Yeah. Happy to be here. So I've been the bursar at UMaine for 8 years now, but I've worked for the university system in various positions in accounting and IT since 1978. So I've been around a long time. So our office is our primary task that we do in the office is we send out the bills. We process all the collections, and we also are the ones who generate financial aid refunds when they're necessary, when when aid comes in that's more than the costs that are on the bill. We send those out. We bill third parties if a third party is helping to pay for your bill, and lots of other things, but those are the primary things that we do. We're responsible for accurately charging your account and collecting the payments.
That's great. Well, thank you so much for joining us today, Bill. I mean, Simon, who better to talk about the bill than Bill himself, okay?
I should say.
Before we get started on our deep dive into the bill, I do want to note that all of the following instructions that we are going to go through and all the information we are about to go through, you can actually find step-by-step instruction for on the Bursar's office website. So that website is umaine.edu/Bursar. That's Bursar. So, first thing that we are going to talk about is the fall 2020 billing timeline. So, Bill, can you go over when folks should expect to get their billing information for the fall semester, how they will receive notification of the bill, and when those bills are due?
Yeah, sure. We're actually this semester is a little different than others. Normally, by this date, leading up to the fall semester, the bills would be out by now. But we've been a little bit delayed due to some rethinking of how room and board costs are going to be assessed due to the potential early departure from campus. So we're trying to wait and see if we can get everything posted at once. But we should probably be sending out bills in the mail by the end of next week, which is like I said, a little bit late. But the other thing that's a little different this year is our due date on the bill is going to be September 15th and not August 15th as it usually is for the fall. So when we get those ready, we send the first one of the semester in the mail. Subsequent bills will be generated periodically, and they're posted online only. But when we post those online, our billing system generates an email and lets you know that one is available. So yeah, we'll be getting them out starting next week, I'm quite sure, although we don't have a final decision yet on on room and board costs.
Perfect. Okay. Well, thank you for that information. And with that, we'll go ahead and switch over to give folks a little preview of what to expect when they receive that paper bill that Bill is talking about there for the fall semester. So we're going to go ahead and bring this up on your screen here. So this is an example invoice of what you can potentially expect. Numbers may vary, of course, for your specific situation here. So taking a look at this particular invoice, you'll notice in the upper right-hand corner some of that sort of summary information, the overall amount due and the due date. And as Bill just mentioned, September 15th is what we're looking at as the due date for this fall, as opposed to the normal due date. So that information will be right there for you. Scrolling a little bit further down, you have some of that summary information again right along the top. So you'll have the date that the invoice was generated, and then if you had a previous balance, so for example, if you paid your confirmation deposit, for example, would show as a negative there, or if you've already made a payment, I suppose. Right next to that, you'll have the actual balance or refund, depending on the scenario. In this example, we have a balance of just over $24,000, and right next to it, it looks like we have the payment there, the $300. So just to the right of those is the box that would contain the anticipated aid. Now, some of you may have watched our episode last week where we discussed not just the actual aid that a student receives through the financial aid package, which would be part of that potentially, but also you can actually report anticipated aid through directly electronically, so that the bursar's office is aware of that. So that would be included there, and then finally the resulting balance. So just below that, you'll have an actual itemized breakdown of all of the charges and deposits associated that basically added together to get that balance that we just mentioned. And then just below that, the breakdown of the anticipated aid that results in that final remaining balance. So all of that information should be itemized right there so that you can sort of read not just the totals but each item and how those were calculated. Yeah, is there anything that I'm missing there, Bill, that might be important for folks to know?
Well, one of the things that you should know is that on this first bill, you can see that it's summarized. There's no dates of activity or that sort of thing. You'll find that when you get subsequent bills, they will be itemized by the date that items get posted to the bill. But the dates that are not important on the first one, so we summarize everything on the first one. And yeah, I think that basically the boxes across the top are the items or summaries of the items that you see below. So if you have a previous balance, it means it's a balance that was on a previous bill, and that and then the next two boxes are the items that are on this bill. So yeah, I think you summed it up pretty well.
Excellent, excellent.
Simon, can I just jump in real quick just
Oh,
for
please
a
do.
couple notes while we're on this section? I just want to remind folks, again, you're only going to get one paper bill per semester. So this is going to be a snapshot, essentially, of what your account looks at when this actual paper bill is created. So like Bill mentioned, it's going to be really important that you're monitoring that Main Street account, the billing information through there, because let's say you change a class, or you swap courses, or you add another course, or you change your meal plan, anything like that that's going to affect the actual charges on your bill, you're going to need to be monitoring through your Main Street Student Center and that billing activity. So that was the first thing I just wanted to make sure we reminded folks. The second thing is on the anticipated aid piece. Make sure when you get this bill that you're reading through it carefully, okay?
Mm-hmm.
And that if it doesn't match what is on your actual financial aid award on Main Street, there could be a couple reasons for that. So for example, let's say you're receiving an outside scholarship and you don't see the outside scholarship listed here on anticipated aid. There could be a couple reasons. Have you sent us the actual letter? Have you reported that outside scholarship to us? Once you report that outside scholarship, we post it to the financial aid award, and then it would actually show here on the anticipated aid section. Your loans. If you are planning on taking out any federal direct loans, or if you've applied for any additional loans, let's say you've applied for an alternative loan, an alternative educational loan, until we actually process that loan through the financial aid office and that is showing up on your financial aid award, that wouldn't show up under anticipated aid yet.
Excellent points. Thank you, Jess. Let's see, what section is next here for us?
Yeah, so on that billing, that if we scroll down a little bit more, again, there's lots of information here. So you've got the number section right up top, and then it provides more information on the back of the actual bill regarding payment options and important student account information. So again, payment options, how you can actually make out-of-pocket payments, and then checking your Main Street frequently. Simon, that's something we say at least 10 times each episode, I believe.
That's so important.
Authorized user, which we are actually going to be showing folks how to complete that process today. It gives you some information about late payment fees, financial aid refunds, and setting up direct deposit. So it's important when you get this bill that you're reading through all of the information. I'm sure it'll answer a lot of questions that you may have when you're first looking at those initial numbers. Okay, so let's see here. So I think in addition to the bill itself, you are also going to get some inserts. A little brochure that does give you a little bit more information on some important how-tos. And a lot of these we did go over in our last episode. Again, step-by-step instructions on how to do. And there's a couple in here that we are going to be going over today. So on our screen here, we've got an actual copy of what it's going to look like. You won't be surprised. You'll be able to be, oh, hey, I've seen this before. That first page really talks about the different authorizations that students and families are going to need to complete. So the student account authorized users, again, we are going to go a little bit more in depth into that topic, so hold tight on that. The student consent to release information form. This is another one, Simon, that I think we talk about a lot and how important it is to not only the Bursar's office, but also to our office. Allowing us to speak to folks other than the student regarding student-specific information. In order for us to be able to do that, we need what's called a student consent to release information form. And that is a form that can be found right on Student Records website. Again, this information will all be provided to you in that bill because it is a really important piece of that financial aid and billing pie. Authorized financial aid payments, again, allowing your financial aid to cover any charges on your account or requesting that any excess refund is held on your account. That is another topic that we went over in last episode, step-by-step process. In addition, if we go to the second page of this brochure, gives you some more information about the refund, setting up direct deposit, more information about making out-of-pocket payments, late payment fees, as well as the student health insurance component. That's really what to expect in terms of what you're going to be getting in that physical bill.
Excellent, very thorough. So I think we are going to go ahead and shift gears and chat about some of the billing information that is available to students and families through the two main sort of electronic resources that are available to them, ideally Main Street, and then the TouchNet system, which is related to payments and payment plans and that sort of thing. Bill, can you give us a quick overview of what sorts of features and functions that students and families might be able to do in either of those platforms?
Yeah, sure. So the first thing is from your Main Street Student Center, you can see your activity anytime. There's a link in the finance section on your Student Center. Where you can see your activity, you can summarize your activity by term, and sometimes that helps it make more sense. And then you can link to TouchNet. TouchNet is where you find your billing statements when they get issued, where you can authorize a user to see your information on TouchNet. You can enroll via self-service in our payment plans. We're going to have 4 and 5 payment plans this fall, and you can also make an electronic payment so that you don't have to write a check. I know I hate writing checks, so I always take advantage of the opportunity to make an electronic payment. Well, we can take the payments there. Not only from you, but from your authorized user. If you authorize a user, they can make payments as well.
Excellent.
Great. Well, Bill, it does sound like we can do quite a bit of managing the bill right online. Is that correct?
Absolutely. I mean, there's really, a lot of people like to write checks. We get a lot of checks in the mail, but there really isn't anything much that you can't do online. You can make the payments, enroll in the payment plans, schedule payments. You can actually do the payment plan, schedule the payments, and they'll just happen on the 15th of every month. So it's a pretty robust set of tools that we have out there.
Excellent. All right. Well, we're going to go ahead and take a look at some of those. So we should be able to pull up an example Student Center Main Street account here from the student's perspective. So when you log in, you'll see a screen very similar to the one you're seeing now, with, of course, your course schedule information, your to-do list. But if you scroll down, it'll also show you your balance and the finance section that Bill was just talking about, where you can see your account activity, date stamped transactions that have been done on your account. Enrollment changes might be there. Any action that happens in terms of charges or payments will be in that account activity. And clicking on the View My Bill, you'll actually be able to take a glimpse of the general billing information there as well. Let's see here. Now you can also click on the Pay My Bill, which will bring you to the screen where you can also see, or here on the View My Bill, you'll have some of that, as I mentioned, the general information. Let's see here, but let's go ahead and switch over so we can access the actual TouchNet system. So that would be through the Pay My Bill scenario, or from the View My Bill. As you saw, you can click on that button right there. So this will actually, so you get into the TouchNet system directly through your Main Street account, through those finances options. Once this loads, you'll arrive at your dashboard, if you will, with a general overview of everything that Bill just mentioned. Now, some of the options, in addition, and we are going to go through each of those, authorizing a user, for example, or initiating a payment, but those are going to be there, as well as selecting a payment plan is going to be there as well. Isn't that right, Jess?
That is right. So before we actually jump into those how-tos, Bill, let's just start with right at the top here. One of the important ones is authorize a user, and I know, Simon, we've been mentioning this quite a bit. Bill, can you just give us a little bit more information about what this authorize a user process is and why it's important, and then we'll go ahead and jump into the actual walkthrough process.
Sure. Yep. So many students really don't get terribly involved in the financial aspect of what's going on, to say the least. But it's important for the person who is going to take that responsibility, who's quite often a parent, that they stay informed. So the easiest way for you to accomplish that as a student is to authorize a user on this system. And authorized users will get emails every time bills are posted. They will be able to access the billing statement like the one we just saw. They will be able to sign up for payment plans, and they'll be able to make payments. And we try to recommend that everybody who's not managing their account themselves give access to at least one authorized user.
Great. Okay. Well, thanks for that explanation, Bill. So now let's go ahead and walk our viewers through how to actually authorize a new user. So from that home screen of that TouchNet account, again, we access this by going into our Main Street Student Center. You can go to the View My Bill or Pay My Bill, and then click on the yellow button that says View Bill Payment Options, and it'll bring you right to this TouchNet bill payment system. So you're going to go ahead and click on under the My Profile Setup, you'll see a little button that says Authorized Users. And then if you've already established authorized users, you would see them listed here on this first tab. But if you're looking to add a new user, you would go ahead and click on that Add Authorized User. Then you would enter the email address of the new authorized user. And then you've got a couple options here as to how you would like to, how involved you want this authorized user to be. So the first question is, would you like to allow this person to view your billing statement? If you select no, then the authorized user that you're adding here will be able to view only the current balance. So they wouldn't be able to see any of your billing statements. And then that second question is, would you like to allow this person to view your payment history? So again, if you select no to this, the payment history tab will show only payments the authorized user has made. So they wouldn't be able to see anything that they haven't actually done. And then if you select no for both of those options, the authorized user will only be able to process payments on your account. Okay, so again, this allows you to really tailor the permissions and how much of the actual billing information you want these authorized users to see. So once you make your selection as to the access options for this new authorized user, you would go ahead and click that continue button. And this just gives you some important information on regarding the agreement to add an authorized user, and you would click that I agree box, click that continue button, and once you add an authorized user, they will actually receive an email notification along with some instructions for logging into their bill pay account. Now, authorized users will not be logging in to their account via your Main Street account, okay, any student's Main Street account. There's actually a separate login, which folks can actually get right to through the Bursar's office website at that umaine.edu/Bursar. And if you look at your screen right now here again, that authorized users list, you can see that that authorized user that we just added is now listed under an active authorized user.
And it is important to note that adding an authorized user only gives them access to the student billing information. So they're not going to have access to academic information or financial aid information. For those items, or just to be able to talk to us, it goes back to what you mentioned earlier, Jess, the student consent to release information form. So if you want folks to be able to do both, really, to be able to look at payment history or payment plans, make payments, that's the authorized user side of things. If you want folks to be able to call us and have conversations about your account on your behalf, or discuss financial aid matters or whatever the case may be, well, that's where you'll want to fill that out, the student consent to release information form.
Simon, because I think it's worth repeating, can you remind our viewers where folks can find that student consent to release information form to submit?
I sure can. They can find it on the student records website. So if you go to that website, right as soon as you get to the student records website, along the top there's a forms section, and that'll actually bring you to the page that has all of their various forms. And you'll see a link on that page that says student consent to release information. So you'll be able to actually access the form directly there.
Perfect. All right. So, Bill, was there any other information regarding authorize a user that you wanted our viewers to know about?
The only thing I can say is that I just really encourage you to consider doing it. You can have more than one authorized user, and new this term, if you do have more than one authorized user and you choose, we'll talk about payment plans here in a minute, but if you choose an estimated payment plan where each user can create their own amount on a payment plan, you can actually have multiple authorized users, each having their own payment plan.
Great, that's really great to know. So sort of switching to our next topic here, if folks who watched our last episode and our last couple episodes, specifically the additional financing options episode that we hosted in June, we talked in depth about installment payment plans and the different options that are offered here through the University of Maine. So one of the items that you can do through this TouchNet bill pay system is actually enroll in an installment payment plan. Simon, you want to go ahead and walk us through that process of enrolling in a payment plan?
I would love to do that. All right, so as Jess mentioned, you would do that directly through TouchNet. So on your what I'm calling the dashboard here, one of the options at the top is going to say payment plan. So you'll want to navigate to that section for payment plans. Once that loads, if you've previously enrolled in a payment plan, you'd have that plan history, but if this is your first time, you'll want to go ahead and click on that button right there, Enroll Now, and that will bring you to the screen where you are going to be selecting the time frame for which you want to establish your payment plan. So in this case, the option being fall 2020. So we'll go ahead and select that. And on the next screen is where you have the different options that Bill was alluding to earlier. Now there are two different types of payment plans, the estimated that Bill mentioned and the calculated, as well as a difference in the number of payments. So there's a 4-payment option and a 5-payment option. Now important to note that there is a down payment that you're making, which is effectively one of those payments when you're actually creating the account. So you'll notice on some of these it'll either say 20% or 25% depending on if you're choosing the 4 or 5 payment option. This screen will also provide you some additional information, including the late payment fees, the number of installments, and the initial setup fee. Let's go ahead and select one. Let's say the first one there, the calculated 5-pay plan. There is a details button, by the way, which goes into a little more information about the payments, and feel free to explore that. So once you've selected your payment plan, you'll have access to this screen, which gives you a whole host of additional information, including the payment schedule that is being initiated by this plan, and sort of a description of what this goes into. Now the calculated plan, correct me if I'm wrong here, Bill, but the calculated plan will take your balance as listed associated with your account and automatically divvy up that balance into, in this case, those 5 installments, the first one being the down payment. Is that right?
Correct. It not only does that, but it recalculates continuously during the term, so that if you added a course after you made your first payment, the cost of that course would be spread out over the remaining payments. Or if you got an additional loan or additional financial aid, that too would affect your future payments. Your future payments would be reduced.
And that's really the primary difference, right, between the calculated and the estimated. The calculated is able to sort of readjust for those changes in your bill versus the estimated.
Correct.
Excellent, excellent. So, and also another note here, if you did want to initially make a larger initial payment, a larger down payment, there is a box on this screen just below the required down payment amount, which would be the 20% in this case. You can actually add to that an additional amount, and then once you do and you sort of tab out of that box, you'll be able to hit update schedule. That will, once we scroll down here, you'll see it adds whatever you've added to as that, additional to the down payment in that box, and so that will have a higher amount. So if you're able to make a larger down payment, then of course your resulting 4 remaining payments will be lower. So if you wanted to do that, that option is certainly there for you. And then at the very bottom here is where you can opt to either agree to having automatic payments. As Bill mentioned, they'll come out automatically for you on the 15th of each month, or to choose not to do that. Of course, I find personally that it's easier to have automatic payments. It's nice that you don't even have to think about it. It's already set up. It's going to take care of itself. And then once you've done that, you can actually hit continue on this screen, and then establish your method. Now that's if you selected that yes to the automatic payments. And well, actually it'll also be for your down payment. So that's where you would continue with that. Now correct me if I'm wrong here, Bill, but paying with an online credit card has that 2.85% fee associated with it, which is a merchant transaction fee versus an electronic check. Is that the same here?
That's right. TouchNet provides the service of providing the credit card payment option, and TouchNet actually collects the 2.85% convenience fee. It doesn't pass through our hands at all. The electronic check, there is no cost to pay with an electronic check.
There you go. Okay, so and if we selected one of those methods on the next screen, it would actually ask for, of course, that particular payment information. Let's see here. So that really takes you through establishing the payment plans. Bill, is there anything really that I missed out or that should be highlighted here?
Well, the first thing is that it costs $30 only to enroll. There's no finance charge. It's just $30, regardless of how much you enroll in the payment plan for. But there is a $25 late fee if you miss a payment. So there's that, and the one that you demonstrated is the calculated plan, which continuously calculates. But if there's some reason why the entire balance is not something you want to put in a payment plan right now, then you can choose the estimated payment plan and choose the amount that you want to include as a payment plan. And we also have an option that's new this term, where if you need to increase that at some future point, you can do that yourself. If you need to decrease it, you would just contact our office and we can adjust that amount for you.
And really, Jess, that goes back to what we've said certainly in the past, in past episodes, the highlighting the importance of communication, whether it be with the Bursar's office or our own, setting up your financial aid information and answering your financial aid related questions. Really, just keeping communication is so paramount to really all of this that we're talking about here today. So we strongly encourage folks to stay connected and communicate when you need to. Yeah.
You are absolutely correct on that, Simon. Again, I don't think we can say it enough. If you've got a question or if something changes with your situation, regardless of if it's on the financial aid side of things or on the billing side of things, just make sure you're in communication with us so that you know what your next steps need to be for that. So we are going to go ahead. Go ahead.
There is one more thing I want to say about the estimated payment plan. It's best when you set up an estimated payment plan to either schedule the payments ahead of time using that option, or when you make your payments, use the payment plan link at the top of the page to go in and manage your payment plan and make the payment through the payment plan. If you don't, the payment plan isn't going to know that a payment you're making goes towards that plan. So if you use the estimated payment plan, you need to manage that payment plan here online, including payments.
That is a really great tip for our viewers, Bill. Thanks for bringing that up. So we are going to go ahead and move into our final little topic that we're going to show you how to do here on TouchNet. But before we go through that, how to make an actual payment, an out-of-pocket payment, Bill, can you just touch on the different ways that folks can make out-of-pocket payments, the different kinds of payments we accept?
Sure. The online here, I think we saw the option when it was brought up for the for the down payment on the payment plan. Mm-hmm. So we have credit card option. It does have the convenience fee. We have the e-check, which is free. We will certainly take your payment in the mail at the Bursar's office at 5703 Alumni Hall, room 100. We highly encourage you to send the top portion of your bill along with that payment to make sure it gets credited properly. And soon we'll actually be open to accept payments. We're not right now, but we will be soon. So for the time being, those are the payment methods that we have. Now, an international student, we also have an international payment method that we have on our website, where international students can pay us in their home currency, and it gets converted automatically and remitted to us. But we really encourage the use of the online payment site.
Great. Well, thanks so much for going through those different options that folks have for making those out-of-pocket payments. Where if you turn your attention back to the screen here that we have, Simon, this is an easy process. Once you're on the dashboard of this TouchNet system, you are going to click on Make a Payment.
You don't say.
I know. And then it's as easy as putting in the amount that you would like to pay, whether it's the current account balance, indicating which term you would like to pay as well. And there we go. And then we'll click that continue button. And then this is where you would select your method, again, whether you want to do that credit card piece with that convenience fee or the electronic check. And then if you choose that credit card option, you would go ahead and put the information in, and it's kind of like making a payment, like doing your online shopping, if you would, Simon. It's pretty easy from here to get that payment submitted. I think that should give
In this case, it normally opens a secondary window, so I think we'll skip past that. But as Jess said, it's as easy as making a payment online. So if you've done some online shopping, you'll know what to do.
Absolutely.
So if I could just mention that,
yes.
that on the previous screen where you entered the amount, we get some calls from some people that are a little bit confused. That you can enter any amount you want in that box. You don't have to choose the pay the balance option and pay the whole balance. I mean, the payments, there's a box there that on some people's browsers is not real obvious, but you can choose whatever amount you want to pay on any given payment.
Fantastic. All right, so that is the end of our actual content segment of the episode. Simon, Bill, are you guys ready for our question and answer time?
I'm ready.
Let's see it.
Great. So we are going to go ahead and start with our first question. So it looks like we have, can you review what the different fees are for? And that is from a viewer from YouTube. So maybe Bill, can you start with that one? Can you just review what some of our, I'm going to guess regarding the tuition and fees, that fees part
Sure.
of the tuition and fees.
Sure. Tuition is for the instruction part of things, and that's one of the things to mention about tuition is it's always on a per credit hour basis. So I encourage everybody when they get their bill to review the total amount of tuition versus their schedule of credit hours. And the unified fee is a fee that is charged to all students, regardless of their residential status or whatever. Everybody pays the unified fee, and it's kind of a historical combination of many fees we had years ago, and they merged them together to cover a variety of costs. Most of the costs are not specific to classroom instruction, but to various services across campus. There's a student activity fee that is actually the activity fee is actually assessed by the student government. We just pass the money along to them, and that helps support many student activities across the campus. The communication fee helps to fund the the main campus newspaper and the radio station. And the rec center fee is helps to support the rec center, and everybody who pays a rec center fee is welcome to use the rec center free of charge. And I think you also see on the bill of course, the meal plan and the room fee. There was a couple of other things on the sample bill. One of them is the first year experience fee that is a one-time only, that students get charged in their first semester to participate in a variety of programs that are presented by Residential Life. And the other big one is the student health insurance, and that's a requirement that undergraduate students taking 9 or more credit hours a semester are required to have health insurance. But there is there's a waiver period that lasts until October 1st, and I encourage you to take a look at the health insurance page at GallagherStudent.com/UMS. There's lots and lots of information there, but that's also where you can waive if you have your own coverage, or you can enroll if you choose to have the insurance. And that's pretty much everything that was on the bill. There are also some program fees for different programs. There are course fees on some specific courses, but those are the more common fees are the ones that we have on the sample bill.
Great, and actually just to sort of jump in on the student health insurance there, that is certainly a topic that if you missed out on last week's episode, we went through a lot of information related to that, and there is a way, if you already have health insurance, that you can do an online waiver to opt out of the one that's process that Bill was just talking about. So you can actually go to umaine.edu/Bursar, that's BURSAR/insurance, and that'll bring you to the webpage on the Bursar's office website that goes into detail, provides some information about that student health insurance plan, as well as gives you a link that'll take you to the Gallagher portal to actually process your waiver if you want to opt out.
And we also have a link, tuition and fees, that gives you the more detail on the information that I just ran down.
That's right. Excellent.
umaine.edu/Bursar tuition. It's actually a tuition and fees link right at the top of the Bursar homepage.
Yeah, the Bursar's office, they have a ton of wonderful information on their website. So if you haven't taken a look yet, I would suggest going to their website. You can get a lot of information on, as Bill mentioned, the tuition and fees. There are how-to guides for with step-by-step instructions for a lot of the things that we've been discussing here tonight. So definitely take a look when you get a chance. All right, let's shift into the second question here. Another question from YouTube. Thank you so much. They are wondering, does the student have to authorize a user just once, or every semester, or every year? Bill, is that something that stays on the account until it's removed, or do they have to reauthorize?
No, it does. It's until it gets taken down, or one of the things that you need to be careful about is if the authorized user changes email addresses, then that the username that they have is still the original email address that they logged in with. That creates some confusion, but yes, it's there until you opt to remove it.
Great, yeah, so students really have that control over the access of who can see their bill, and you can really customize who either adding or taking off authorized users from that TouchNet system. Okay, so it looks like we have another question from YouTube. Can you make a payment just for the insurance? Bill, can you go ahead and talk to us about that?
Yeah, so the payment plan is more it's more dollar amounts than it is particular items, but you certainly can choose to make a payment plan for the amount of the insurance. There's nothing in the enrollment in the payment plan that allows you to choose specific items, but you certainly can create an estimated payment for that amount, or you can do the calculated plan after you've paid everything else, if you wanted to do that. So it's so that's kind of a yes and no answer.
Excellent. And actually, I believe this came up, I think it was earlier this week, Jess, and somebody had asked me something very similar. And I think we even talked about it in the last episode, but if a student, let's say, secured an alternative loan and applied to their account, specifically choosing to cover almost all of the balance, but leaving, as Bill said, the exact amount of the insurance, let's say the 2,000 some odd dollars, you could theoretically do that. So it's really about reducing your balance to specifically that amount. As Bill said, it's not that item, but if you had that as a remaining balance and then chose to set up a payment plan to divvy that up, then effectively you're doing that. But from the payment plan's perspective, it's just looking at a number and divvying it up.
Which, and just to know, for that UMaine student health insurance plan, it is the $2,264.
That's what I couldn't remember the exact number.
There you go.
You would.
And so that's a one-time charge in the fall semester for the annual plan. So yeah, just so folks, if that is something that you are interested in doing, that's the dollar amount for that student health insurance.
All right, next question up. Is this one mine or yours, Jess? I've lost track. I'm going to go ahead and read it.
All right.
Why isn't the loan I applied for in my anticipated aid? Jess, you want to start us off with that?
Yeah, absolutely. So this really goes back, if you recall, when we were looking at the actual statement on the bill, and I highly recommended folks, really make sure you're looking at what's listed under that anticipated aid. So let's say you've applied for an additional loan to help out with, the additional expenses beyond what your financial aid is covering. So either a Federal Parent Plus loan or an alternative loan. Those items, once you've been approved for those loans, we get notified of that, and we actually have to review those approvals, and we post those loans to the financial aid award. So we are actually in the process of currently, we've just started to process loans for this upcoming fall semester. So I would say within the next couple of weeks, if you have applied for a loan for the upcoming academic year, you should start to see, if there's no other information we need, you should start to see that those additional loans posted to the financial aid award. It's once those are posted to that financial aid award that they actually start to show up as anticipated aid. So one of the things that I'm also going to plug here is the anticipated resources page that we talked about in our last episode. If you're not seeing a loan that you applied for under the anticipated aid yet, because maybe you just applied for it, or we're still in the process of processing, then I would highly recommend you can enter that information into anticipated resources. So again, remember, this is where it gets anticipated aid is what your financial aid is, and then anticipated resources is a way for you to actually report to the bursar's office that you have anticipated resources coming in to help pay that bill. It's a very appropriate name, Simon, for the actual task to be done. So those are some of the reasons why you may not be seeing a loan that you applied for on that anticipated aid list. Okay, next question. When is the first payment due for the payment plans? Bill, you want to start us off with that one?
Sure. So as we saw in the demonstration, your first payment is actually your either 20% or 25% down payment. So you are somewhat in control of when that payment gets made. However, the next payment is going to be on August 15th for the 5-payment plan, and it will be on September 15th for the 4-payment plan. you'll be able to enroll anytime after you get your bill. We'll have those payment plans in place and open and ready to use next week. So the first payment is whenever you enroll. The next payment is either 8/15 or 9/15, depending on which plan you choose.
Excellent, excellent. Definitely something for folks to keep in mind, so that way they can plan accordingly and aren't surprised when that second payment starts to process. All right, next question here from YouTube. I tried to access the anticipated resources section last week, and the link wasn't active. Should I email someone, or does it become activated when we get the bill? Bill, you want to jump in on that one?
Yeah, as I mentioned, we haven't actually put charges on accounts yet, but as soon as we put the charges on accounts, then we'll get the anticipated resources up and available. It really, I mean, you may know that you want to put something in there, but you really ought to take a look at your bill to know exactly what it is that you're planning to do. So we just don't have it up there yet. It should be by the end of next week.
Perfect. But thank you very much to the person who asked that, and thank you for watching last week. Good on you.
Simon, we've got our next question here. Can I have multiple payment plans, or can I change my payment plans? Bill, you want to answer that one for us?
Well, as a single individual, no, you can't have multiple payment plans. But remember, I mentioned that if you had more than one authorized user, and you choose the estimated payment plan, you can have different payment plans for different amounts for different authorized users. If the payment plan that you establish does not work for you, you can give us a call or email us, and we can help you get that switched over to something else. Keep in mind that if you choose the estimated payment plan, those amounts can be modified as needed during the life of the payment plan.
Great. Well, thanks so much for that answer, Bill. Next question here. When will I be able to get a refund? And just to clarify again, a refund happens when you have more financial aid funds than there are charges on your account. So you kind of have an overage of those financial aid funds. Bill, can you go ahead and tell us when those refunds would be available?
Yeah, I think that as I recall, it's actually on the information on the back of your bill that says the first time we'll be sending them out would be a week before classes start, which is August 24th. If you have a credit balance as the result of excess financial aid, we'll start doing it. We'll start doing it on that. I believe it's a Monday, the 24th, and we will do it continuously from that point on. I strongly encourage, if you're looking for a refund, that you sign up for direct deposit for that refund. It's the easiest, most secure, quickest way for you to get that money where you need it.
Absolutely. Well, Simon and Bill, it looks like we are at the end of our episode. This one flew by, I'm telling you. We got through a lot of information today. Bill, before we do our final wrap up here, can you just let our viewers know what's the best way to contact the Bursar's office if they do have questions?
So actually, we have an email account that's umbursar@maine.edu, and we actually just went live today. We will, even though we're not in the office, you can dial 207-581-1521. You can choose option 3 to leave us a voicemail, and we'll get back to you just as fast as we can. That we actually just got that up and running today. We also have an option. If you call that same number, 207-581-1521, Option one will take you to Gallagher Student Health if you've got questions about the insurance plan.
Wow, that's some really great information on how folks can get in touch with you with any questions that they may have. Well, Bill, thank you again for joining us and talking about everything related to the student bill. We have come to the end of our episode. Thank you, everybody, for joining us, and we hope to see you next